Well, let me not bury the lead here. DOA has been arrested. And apparently, it was a complete surprise because he was caught off guard. He asked what the charge was, and they, to use a catchphrase, got him. But why and how, it's still a little puzzling. So the charge appears to be assault with a deadly weapon. And although I'm very critical of DOA, it doesn't really sound like him. Like, he's done many questionable things, but assault with a weapon? Yeah, here and there. I mean, what do we mean? Pepper spray? What kind of weapon? So it was just very, very strange. And people were speculating, well, what is this from anyway? Apparently something happened on March 4th, and that may have been the origin of the arrest. So, very, very puzzling. And of course, Aaron and Streets LA were very giddy about the whole thing and very excited at the prospect that DOA may permanently go away to jail. I doubt this will mean anything at the end of the day. Again, DOA, good or bad, has had more than a few run ins with the law, so he will probably know how to react. And I think his community will support him in case he needs to raise money because the bail is set at over $300,000. That is a huge amount, a huge amount. But again, if you really know the court system and the law, it's very rare for that to stay where it is. So probably it will get lowered to something that's a little bit more realistic, and he will be able to post bail and he will be released. This is also very curious because only days ago before this, Laura released kind of controversial video criticizing Aaron and a lot of people in the SPTV community. So is this just an insane coincidence? I don't know. I don't know. It is a lot of hypocrisy all around. I mean, I will concentrate on the hypocrisy of Aaron and Streets LA, who have criticized and documented the corruption of the LAPD, but now apparently the LAPD is just fine. So very, very convenient that now the LAPD can be trusted. Well, it's a lot of question marks, a lot of question marks. But I can't say that DOA himself is free of hypocrisy. If you remember, only months ago, it wasn't that long ago, he tried to get Zero Dark Tony in jail on many questionable charges. And Zero Dark Tony has his own very weird legal saga with DOA and other people in the protest movement. But again, DOA himself was trying to use the law to put somebody in jail just for fact checking him, right? You can call it what you want, but basically, Zero Dark Tony, they want him in jail for criticizing them and not backing off. That's really what this is about. So it is deeply ironic that someone who tried to use the court system to get rid of a critic was himself arrested. And there we go. And although Laura's video was fairly long, I will address just one major point she tried to make about DOA, of him being misunderstood and that he has a big heart and is very sensitive, and he's been misunderstood. Well, I agree that all may be true. However, that does not prevent someone from being a violent actor. Now, I'm not saying that DOA is violent all the time. I don't want to mischaracterize him. He can be calm and he can quote protest as well as make his points very restrained. However, more often than not, he does choose to scream at people. He does like to, in public, call people out in a very loud voice and be very confrontational. Now, in protest movements, there is a time to be confrontational, right? We should be very clear. However, you should, generally speaking, pick and choose when you're confrontational. And DOA often does not. He just is throwing out these very blanket charges, blanket accusations, and just tends to be very loose with accusations at times. So there's something a little distortive for Laura to say, well, he has a really, really big heart. Okay, but making him into this kind of Buddhist peace warrior, it's not exactly the whole truth. Again, he doesn't start fights all the time, but he has involved himself in quite a few fights. That's not to say that he begins these fights, but there has been a trail of violence. Now you can say it was defensive, he's defending himself. True, not true, depending on the case. But this is not a person who is completely non-violent. So to say that it's very alien or foreign for DOA to be violent, that's not true. That's simply not true. He does choose to use very violent rhetoric, and sometimes he chooses to be violent. That has been documented. That said, I am very, very suspicious that this is all a setup, because this just feels very out of step. Has he been involved in fights? Sure. But assault with a deadly weapon? That just doesn't sound like him. Doesn't sound like him at all. So I wonder what's really going on. Again, at this point, it does seem that the LAPD is just trying to find something to throw at him to get rid of him. I just find this all very, very suspicious. I also think this is also very short-term thinking, because at this point, Lara and him have broken up, right? They're split up. So it's not likely that he's going to really stay in LA anyway. There's nothing tying him there. But he doesn't have to be physically present in LA to create issues for Streets LA or Aaron. So I think it's just very, very naive that Aaron thinks he's very clever and thinks he can use the police and the court system against DOA, and it will not have any backlash or blowback effect. It's going to have blowback effect. So I think it'll be very curious how DOA is going to respond, and I'm sure he's going to try to do the same thing, use the police against them, and it's just going to keep spiraling and spiraling, which I'm here for, because, to put it mildly, both Streets LA and Aaron have done very questionable things legally, so that they also may get arrested soon. I really don't care anymore. But I think it's very, very weird that they think that they can just do these things and get away with it. I mean, these are people who themselves have said over and over again they've been falsely arrested over and over again, and now here they are like, oh, it's good. Yeah, it's very good that the police are finally safeguarding the communities against DOA. Right. So hypocrisy all around. We will see where this goes. But yes, at this point, he's been arrested. By the time you're seeing this video, he's probably been released. But yeah, for the time being, he's in a very precarious situation. But DOA has been in these situations before. Is this permanent? I doubt it. And I'm sure he'll find very clever ways to retaliate. Did Streets LA or even Aaron have a role in this? Well, we're probably going to find out real soon. But it's very weird. It's just very weird. I myself am very critical of DOA, but I think it's also very problematic when you try to use the court system to silence a political opponent. I think that's very, very dangerous. But that's my humble opinion. Thank you for listening.